Hey, it's me, Vay, and guess what? I'm back for another prototype devlog video, and it has been a minute. As a matter of fact, it has been approximately 112,325 minutes at the time of recording since my last upload. It'll probably be a few more minutes by the time you're actually watching this video. So that's pretty cool. If you're wondering what happened, I think I'm gonna make a separate video on that because it's kind of long, and if you care about prototype, you might not care about what I've been doing in the past couple of months. So let's just get into the video, I guess. It's worth mentioning that I'm a little bit sick, because of course I am. I've been sick like seemingly every other video, but that's alright. So let's see, what have I been doing? The main thing that I've done since last episode is AI. I think, a little bit of stuff on the menu, potentially. I don't know, but mainly AI. So it started out way back right after the last episode, where I started working on a model. And also, quick side note again, I did the very smart thing when you're trying to make a video, and I recorded not much of it. The stuff I did was from a really long time ago, and I accidentally deleted most of it, if not all of it, when I was clearing out some files. So there's a pretty good chance that you might just have to watch whatever unrelated video clip I put on right now, or it might just be some random prototype videos from like an older build or something like that. I know I have some left over. But anyways, I started by making a low poly human model, and like a lot of times when I'm making a 3D model, it was just going to be like a little test, a little bit of practice, see how to make one. But it's actually pretty easy, and I was pretty happy with the result. So instead of making another one, I just kind of went with it. I'm going to use that for the base for all preceding human base AI enemies. And so, it turned out pretty decent. There's some weird geometry with it, and I probably should have gone and made a new one, especially since the arms and legs are not very symmetrical around them, so it's kind of hard to do some stuff with it. But that's fine, it doesn't really matter. So I decided to make the actual enemy model. I was going to make it for like the base, because like the base level enemy. I ended up making a little higher just because I didn't really plan it very well, and I ended up making a more armored looking suit. So that's what I went with. I don't know if you could have heard that. So yeah, and then I textured it, and I think I'm definitely going to change the palette I'm using. The current one, I believe, is called Pear, but it doesn't have very many. The grays are really blue, and the reds are really pink, which are like the two really prominent colors, and I want it to be like, nice grays and reds. So I'm probably going to change that at some point. And then after I made that, I went over to Mixamo, because so first I was trying to use Rigify, which is a free Blender plugin add-on that allows you to really easily rig models. But turns out I think you need to have more high poly models, because it was kind of a little bit janky, and also I think I just set up the rig a little bit wrong. But I was like, I kind of don't want to have to deal with this. And then also I didn't really want to have to animate anything as well, because I'm just lazy like that. So I decided to use Mixamo. After a lot of thinking and back and forth on it, I decided I'm just going to do it. So I just did it, and I think that was a good choice to make, because there's so many different nice animations you can choose from. And I think I still have a clip of the the animations, which might be playing right now. If it's not, oh well, but it should be. So yeah, there's that. And then after that, I kind of stopped, and then I made a Minecraft map, and then I came back to it after a really long time. Okay, so I'm going to do something a little bit different for this segment. I want to show how the actual AI works, so I'm doing this live instead of just talking and then putting relevant video over the top of it. So what you're looking at here is called a behavior tree, and it's pretty simple. I'll explain it. So you have here the AI thing, right? It goes to the selector, which will check for all these different conditions to see what we're having. So the AI has different states. Currently, the only ones that are being used is the passive state, where it just walks around, and the attacking state, where of course it attacks. And then I have implemented a low health state, which doesn't work really. And then there's also a dead state and a few others that I will implement later, but for now this is just pretty basic overall sort of rundown for what we're doing. So starting off, when the state is equal to passive, go over here and we'll select between these two. This thing doesn't really work. I think I disabled it because I just didn't want to have the AI do it. But essentially, it'll go to, if it hears a sound, so if you if you hide behind somewhere, it'll go and look for you, I believe. That's why it's called investigation. Then over here, this is just the moving. So AI patrol here essentially makes it to where, well, you can still see this. If you can't, basically there's these little points, and the AI will move along those points in a circle. And so that's what this task right here does. And then the move to random is pretty self-explanatory. It just makes it move random. I will say, previously, especially with the last episode, I think. Dang, that was a long time ago. I've been trying to make everything on my own without using tutorials too much, but all this stuff I basically just copy pasted straight from 2 tutorials, which I'll put on screen right now just to give them credit for it. Really useful tutorials. I did kind of have to merge them together a little bit so I could get the best of both worlds. But yeah, so most of this stuff is not my own code. So moving over here, once they see you or hear you, or if you touch them, then they will turn to the attacking state. So then there's this attack sequence which has a 5-second cooldown. So when this is not on cooldown, it'll look towards the target, which is usually a player. It'll move to the player. It'll attack them with a melee attack, which you can see here puts out. This is just a bunch of really complicated math. Well, it's not really that complicated, but it's just some math, which essentially just makes a line that goes out, and then if it hits, when it hits something, then it'll apply damage to that, which there's a damage script in the player that will make the player actually take damage. And then it'll wait between a second with around a second, and then it'll stop looking at you, and then this will be on cooldown for 5 seconds. And while it's on cooldown, it'll go over here to the strafe sequence, where it will look at you or its target. This EQS query is kind of a complicated thing, but essentially just find some points on the map in a specific radius around the player, and then it'll pick one and it'll move to that. Well, here it'll move to that, then it'll not look at you, and then it'll go back, find a new location, move to that location. So basically just kind of like walk around you in a circle a little bit, and then every 5 seconds about it'll go and do this attack script. Then over here, the low health, which again is not implemented yet, this is something that will be in a few different enemies, but basically they will not look at the player. Then this EQS query is basically they find a point on the map that is not within the player's field of view, and then they'll run there and they'll hide, but for around between 1 and 9 seconds, and then they'll go back to the passive state, I believe, and then they'll go back to doing that, which can be kind of funny if I set it up so when they see you they'll run away, and then they would just go like hide behind, and then they go out, they see you, and then just turn around. That's kind of funny. So that's how this works for now. There's no death script or anything put in place right now, but I will add that to make custom things happen when they die. The low health script as well is something I can easily implement. I'll probably do that either next time I work on AI or potentially in the next episode, because I do want to add a bunch more different enemy types. But yeah, that's how this AI system works. There's a little bit more to it. It's not as simple as this. There's more things you need to do to set up the AI and things. This is basically how it works. So yeah, I guess I'll go back to talking about stuff. So yeah, that's how the enemy AI works. I'm gonna of course expand upon it with different AI types. Like this one just has a melee attack, but I can easily manipulate that to make it a ranged attack, which most enemies will have. And as long as you keep moving around, the enemies really can't touch you. If you kind of get cornered, they can damage you a little bit, but if you keep moving, you'll basically be fine. Which is kind of the point, to encourage you to zip around and stuff. And they can also be damaged with weapons and things. So once I finished that, so I started with this one tutorial. I forget who it's by, which I should have probably gone and looked at it, but it'll be on the screen. And then once I got about halfway through, I was pretty satisfied. I had a pretty basic AI system set up. And then I wanted to do the extra stuff with this more advanced tutorial, which I was really intimidated by, because each of the videos are like an hour long, which is, the other tutorial is nice because each video is only like 20 minutes, so it's really easy to just knock out a tutorial real fast. But the other ones were like an hour long or something like that, But that gave me some more slightly more advanced things, like with the hiding and stuff, and that'll setting it up for more advanced things in the future, like the different AI states and things, which will be easier to implement things in the future. So there was one point where I had a glitch, and this was just a few days ago. where the AI, it was acting really weird, where like it would look towards you while it was just moving along its path, and it would just like stop and stand in place for a while, and sometimes it would just move around randomly. I don't know, it was really weird. And so I was pretty confused about what was going on. And so I spent a solid, probably like over an hour, I think, just trying to figure out what was wrong with this. For some reason, I thought the investigation sequence had something to do with it. Like, I wasn't setting the target location. That doesn't even make sense because I had disabled that anyways at the time. And so then eventually I just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna give up. There have been times in the past where something just doesn't work, and then you just call it a day, come back the next day, and it works. Things just happen like that sometimes, I guess. So I was just gonna, hope it fixed itself in the morning. But then I was like, well, I really don't have anything else to do. So I watched a quick inspirational clip, and I put on some epic montage music, and I did not record myself fixing the issue. It took me like 5 minutes, I think. But I should have just recorded myself doing it, so I could have had an epic montage, like time-lapse of me fixing it. But I didn't. Essentially, I was just setting the state to passive if it didn't see the player. So if it saw anything except for the player, it would turn to passive, which was not a good thing to do, because if it's looking at the player, it's seeing a bunch of other stuff as well, which I think is what was breaking it. I don't know why it was doing what it was doing, or how that made it do what it was doing, but it did. So, yeah. But then after that, I added the system to kill it and have it be able to kill you, which also meant implementing the health and armor system. The armor system, so I decided to do it like how the original Doom does it, without the extra, whatever the big armor is called. Basically, the armor will absorb, I think, 30% of the damage. It's either 30 or 70. I'm pretty sure it's 30. I don't remember what I did. It's kind of confusing if I think about it too much. But it'll absorb 30% of the damage. Your health will take the 70%. And then the issue with that right now is something that would be pretty easy to change. I'm just a little bit lazy to do it right now. It just checks for if you have any amount of armor, and then it'll take it away. But it should probably check for if you have enough, like as much armor as the damage is going to take away. It's kind of hard for me to kind of explain, but I hope you understand. If not, it really doesn't matter. But yeah, so the AI will attack you. You can attack it. The different weapons have different amounts of damage. The pistol projectile attack does not work. I think I know how to make it work, but I have a pretty big glitch that I've thought of where if you just swap to a different weapon, it'll deal a different amount of damage, which is not optimal. But I think I'll probably be able to find a tutorial on how to fix that. There is also one time, so this is something else that happened during development that I decided to talk about, because I haven't really had too many big bugs that have happened. But whenever I shoot the primary attack of the double pistols, which is that one projectile attack with the the yellow bullets, it always gives me a bunch of errors, because so there's a list of the weapons you can have, and that is number 0 in the list. So the pistol checks for if you have equipped number 0, and then if you do, then it does all the pistol stuff. But since it detects 0, then it gets upset at me. So I was like, well, this should be easy enough. I'm just going to move it from 0 to 1, and then move the sniper from 1 to 2, and it won't cause any issues. My, was I wrong? So I've tried to swap everything that referred to the pistol as 0 to refer to it as 1. The same thing with the sniper, and I spent, I don't know, at least 30 minutes, but I would assume probably more, on trying to fix that. And my goodness, it broke so much. You have like weapons doing like the wrong attacks, you had just like holding no weapons, it was just a pain. Eventually, like the most complete I had it is where you would have no weapon equipped, and then you could swap to the pistol or the sniper. I think it's like you had nothing equipped, and then you could swap to the pistol, and then you could swap to nothing, and then the sniper, and back to nothing. I don't know, it's kind of weird. If you scroll the other way, it would give you different things in a different order. But I decided, you know what, I don't think this is the right way to do it. So I just undid all the changes, and that took a long time to undo everything. And then after that, I had to fix something still because it wasn't working. But I got it back to a working state. And now I'm going to talk about something completely random, because I think I have talked enough about what I've done over the past 2 months. So Prototype is not the name I want to have for this game. It's kind of a cool name. It was like the first thing that came to mind when I was originally brainstorming name ideas. but it obviously sounds pretty incomplete, and the game is, of course, incomplete right now. But I think I'm going to change it to either Vanguard or Unleashing Vanguard, because spoilers for the story, but not really. The robot suit you have on is called Vanguard, which Vanguard is just a cool word, first of all, but also it means like the head of an army or something. It's kind of like you're leading the attack against the main villain, even though you're kind of the only one attacking. Well, at the time you're the only one attacking, but you're still leading the attack since you're the anyways. And then also there's a little bit of reference, since the character I'm deciding to call them the nameless one, because, you know, nameless protagonists are always kind of cool. And so if you get the reference, then, you know, cool. If not, then also cool. I have an idea for a few. I have multiple ideas for a few references to add. They'll probably be pretty subtle and pretty niche, and if anyone actually ends up playing the game, I doubt they'll notice the references anyways, but it's still fun for me to know that I added a bunch of cool Easter eggs into the game. Anyways, I think that that's just about enough of me talking, and I think I'm still gonna, for the remainder of the Devlog series, just call it Prototype, because changing everything to Vanguard or Unleashing Vanguard. Actually, I might do that. There's not very many videos, but maybe from now on I'll swap it to Vanguard, just because that's, if I ever release the game, that's what the name's going to be. Anyways, I plan, I forget what the original schedule is. You can probably look at my channel community page. I think next episode is either going to be working on some just like housekeeping stuff. I think that's what you call it, and also probably fixing the menu, but just kind of fixing some bugs and ironing things out a little bit, or doing some more stuff with AI. There's a few more things I want to finish with the AI, and then also the health systems as well, since that's been implemented in this episode. But that'll probably take place next episode. Next episode will either be all AI and probably adding different AI types, so we'll have the official AI classes or whatever, enemy classes, or it'll be just a few AI things, and then the menu, finishing the menus, and then yeah, just fixing some stuff up. And then after that, well, I think it's basically just making levels and adding new enemies and weapons and stuff. If you see on my channel right now, my latest video, well, I guess not my latest video anymore, but my previous latest video was a little music thing, and it's not perfect, but I think it's pretty decent. It'd be combat music. It's a prototype for combat music of the first level, so I don't know, we'll see where that goes. But yeah, I think that this is a good end for the video, and I'll see you next week, or in a couple of weeks, I don't know.